Hi, my name is Silly and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about movies. We are going to discuss some of the recent films I have seen and we're going to talk about it. Let me know if you've seen these, what your thoughts are. It's been a while since I wrapped up some recent movies, so let's talk. Also, if you don't follow me on Letterboxd yet, the link is down below. You can give me a follow, I can follow you back. We can see what our thoughts are on movies as they're coming out. I love tracking things on Letterboxd. You can put your reviews, you can put your star rating, and there's a diary feature where you can see all of the movies that you've seen in the last few months. So let's first talk. I had quite a few rewatches in January. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I watched this on the plane back from my Christmas vacation. I love this film. It's cozy, it's comforting. It is kind of pinnacle middle school nostalgia if you were like a teen girl in middle school, or if you had like a similar embarrassing puberty kind of situations happening in middle school. Like, these are just universal themes, no matter who you are, where you grew up, what you identify as. There are universal themes of puberty and like figuring out communication things and figuring out friendship that this movie just perfectly encapsulates, and it is so funny, so comforting. It deals with like a lot of heavier things too, like as you might assume from the title of the movie. A lot of it is Margaret also figuring out where she kind of fits into the world and how she thinks of religion. She comes from like two different kind of religious backgrounds, and her parents don't want her to decide until she's older, but she feels like this is such a large part of her family and her family's identity and like the history of her family that she wants to figure this out now. And it's so great. It's a wonderful movie. Another rewatch that I watched on this same flight was The Wolf of Wall Street. I watched maybe like 2/3 of it. Also, this is quite the choice to watch on a flight. There's like, I mean, explicit content that you're watching like while surrounded by like a bunch of other people on a flight. I don't know, it feels like a very judgy space. That might just be me like overthinking things, but I was watching it and I was like, maybe I should have chosen something a little bit more PG to watch on this like 300-person plus flight. But anyways, love Wolf of Wall Street. It is so good. It is just so well done. Like peak cinema. They did a good gosh darn job in this film. And there is a scene where, what's this man's name? Leonardo DiCaprio is like high on Quaaludes. And the acting in this scene is just seriously phenomenal. He hits it out of the park. Like, I would not have been able to keep a straight face like trying to act out this scene. Like, I don't know how he did it. It's inspired work. Next, I watched Midsommar with my boyfriend. Now, I am not into horror movies, but I literally own this on DVD. I got it for like $3 one day, and I've been wanting to watch this movie. I love Florence Pugh's like acting style and her work. It sounded like a fascinating concept, and if there's a good plot and like an interesting story happening in a horror movie or anything scary, I will be interested and I will want to watch it, and I will have, I mean, I wouldn't say a good time watching it. I don't know if I have a good time watching scary things, but it'll be an experience that I value, maybe? So I went into this looking forward to it, excited, and honestly I was a little bit let down. I don't know if my expectations were just higher than what the film was, or I mean, I knew it was gonna be weird, but like it was not the kind of weird that I wanted it to be. I was just really thrown off for a lot of it, and I was expecting that, and yet actually watching it was different. The ending, choices were made. What a film to watch. I don't know, it was wild. I forgot, I haven't been giving my star ratings. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret is a 4-star. Wolf of Wall Street also 4-star. Midsommar was a 3-star. Next, I rewatched the Super Mario Bros. Movie because my boyfriend had never seen it, and I've seen it like 3 or 4 times at this point. I love this film. I also own it on DVD. Hell yes. I mean, I love this movie. I paid full price for this bad boy when it came out. Like, it is what it is. So we rewatched it. I absolutely love it. Literally, I was Luigi for Halloween. I made these little like I don't know what these blocks are called from Super Mario Bros. But I love this film. I think it is a fascinating concept for anyone who's played like any Mario game, and for anyone who has played Mario Kart. Like, there are so many fun little Easter eggs and exciting fun things that is in this movie where you are like, they knew what they were doing. They did this for the fans, they did this for the nerds, and the story is just so good and it's heartwarming and it's so cute and I love them. So like, it's a good movie. That is definitely a 5-star. Then I watched Mean Girls. So Mean Girls, love the original Mean Girls, own the original Mean Girls. I had a good time. Honestly, it's like queer camp. It is exactly what I was expecting. It is a musical. For the people who went in not knowing it was a musical, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the trailers were a little ambiguous. I thought it was pretty clear from some of the trailers, unlike for Wonka, where they had like, they did not make that clear at all that that was a musical. When Timothée Chalamet started singing in Wonka, I was perturbed. I was thrown off. I was like, this is a different film than I was expecting. But that's a different story. So I know there was like a lot of debate about people being upset about the movie. I don't know. I enjoyed Mean Girls. It was well done. The singing was good. Yes, the main character played by that one girl like isn't the strongest singer, but her character's like, it just, I mean, I don't feel like her character's supposed to be a strong singer. Renee Rapp is supposed to be a strong singer, and she is, and she's amazing, and she played that part beautifully. And this movie's so queer. I love it. Oh my god, it is so good. Anyways, loved it. There were some moments that were like a little bit cringe because they made it for like a Gen Z audience, and I am not a Gen Z audience. So I feel like younger people who watched it maybe connected to some of the more like topical moments. Like there are a bunch of like moments that were like connected to TikTok or something. I hated that personally. I wish that they had a little bit more of a like not 2024 vibe to the film, but you know what, they wanted to make a modern version for the current generation, which is not me, so sure. So that was a 4-star. Then I watched Anyone But You. Listen, I enjoyed Anyone But You, but it is very clearly in the trash rom-com category. Like there is like good rom-com, there's trash rom-com, and there is good trash rom-coms, and there are bad trash rom-coms. Anyone But You is kind of in the middle. Like it was a good trash rom-com, but like there were some moments where you're like, what is happening? Like the entire plot is basically that this man and woman, who knows their names, have like a one-night stand, and they both have like a really good time, and it seems like it could really become something, but then there's some miscommunication and they end up hating each other because like miscommunication. And then years later, they end up going to a wedding of like one of their sisters, one of their best friends are getting married, and they all have to go to like Australia. And oh no, they have to pretend to be dating so that everyone gets off their back about them not finding romance. So of course, like they actually fall in love. The movie was a lot better than the trailer made it out to be. The trailer was a little like, okay. It was a lot better. I just didn't like the concept to begin with. Like any kind of miscommunication trope irks me and gives me personal stress. Like that's just a little too real for me. I'm like, like fear, absolute fear. There were a lot of funny moments, but a lot of those funny moments were already spoiled by the trailer. Like the trailer already showed you the funniest parts that were gonna happen. So like that was a bummer. But whatever, it was a 3-star movie. Then I watched what I consider to be one of the worst films I have ever seen in my life. Which honestly, that's a pretty high bar. I mean, now that I'm thinking of it, I can't think of any other film that gets even as close. This movie was Beautiful Disaster. Never in my life have I seen such a bad movie. Oh my god. So this film, This film I knew going in was going to be trash, like bad trash rom-com. I thought I would still have a good time. I did not have a good time. I had a bad time watching this film with my friend LB. LB, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. This is a bad film. I think she had a good time, but... So let me see if I remember this movie correctly. So the main guy, played by one of the Sprouse brothers, I don't know if it's Dylan, I don't know if it's Cole, I couldn't tell you, I'm not sure, it's one of them. He's like a boxer or something, he's like a fighter in a university setting, and then there's like this innocent girl but who's also like a world-renowned poker player who has like since quit the game and has decided to like start a new life and leave that world behind. They start like a weird romance, and they have some kind of bet, I think. Honestly, I tried to block most of this film out, but I think they have a bet of not falling in love with each other or like not getting physical. It's something like that. It's weird. And then like that falls apart, and then like her world catches up with her and she has to play one last poker game, and it's all like very serious. And this movie's just so dumb and had so many moments that irked me to my core, that made me feel uncomfortable. So this is half star. Like, it doesn't even get the dignity of getting 1 star. It is a half star film for me personally. Moving on. Then I watched Miller's Girl. Miller's Girl is a gosh darn time. Wow. Listen, my friends and I, we knew, actually no, only 2 of us. Only 2 of us were aware of this movie's plot. The other 2 were just excited to go watch a movie. And then I felt bad that they had not looked this movie up and did not know what they were in for. So like, sorry you guys. You should have looked it up when we invited you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's on you. But 2 of us did know. And we were there for it. We were looking forward to watching this, and we knew it would be a lot. And it was a lot. So basically, this film is... This is when Letterboxd comes in handy, because I can't remember any person's name, actor or otherwise. Who are these people? Martin Freeman and Jenna Ortega. Martin Freeman and Jenna Ortega have like a student-teacher romance. I think it's in a high school too, which like adds another layer of like... Yeah, and it's like a forbidden romance. And she's like a student in his literature class, and she's like brilliant, and she knows that she's going to be the next great American author, and he knows that too, but he's trying to help her develop her craft. But she's like such a genius. And then, you know, she starts writing like some spicy things and like giving them to him, and he becomes uncomfortable, and he's like, listen, this is a no-go, we can't do this. And then she becomes like very defensive and bratty and feels like she's in control of the situation and tries to like blackmail him or something. And then the movie just keeps going on from there. So like, this movie is crazy. Like, it just kept going. It just kept going. There were more layers. I'm like, everyone in this movie is kind of an idiot, and I don't know what they're trying to achieve right now. But that was the film. I think that one was 2 stars. Listen, it had some things going for it. It wasn't the best, but like, it is what it is. Then I was having a bad day and I rewatched Bride Wars, and listen, Bride Wars is what I needed at that time. This movie is whack, but it's hilarious. So it is Anne Hathaway and Kate Hudson, who both get engaged around the same time. They both have like the same dream wedding of like a wedding at the plaza. I don't get it. Good for them. They have like a whole, they are very specific about what they want. And if they don't get that, it's the end of the world. So both of them want to get married like as soon as possible in this exact place with the plan they've had since they were 5 years old. And there's like problems with getting the venue. Both of them end up having to like schedule the weddings on the same day and then won't be able to be in each other's weddings. But like, they're best friends, but apparently their wedding is more important. So it becomes like a whole thing about them getting back at each other and like pranking each other, and it becomes very vicious. And then at the end they realize that friendship was actually the most important thing all along. Yeah, this movie is wild, but if you're looking for like a funny rom-com to just like take your brain outside of your head and just kind of relax for the night, Bride Wars has it going. And at the end of it, you're like, you know what? Things might be rough sometimes, but at least I wasn't one of these people in this movie. So got that going for you, you know? This is a 3.5-star film. It's a time. It's a good time. I'm not gonna say it's like anywhere near like top movies, but like it's what you need sometimes. And then the last movie that I watched in January was All of Us Strangers. Now this movie, what did I even rate this? I gave this 4 stars. Honestly, it's like a 3.5 to a 4-star. Overall, like after having seen the film and after having digested it, it became like maybe what would be a 4-star movie. In it, I was a little bit distressed the entire time. It was a bit darker than I was anticipating on that night. I thought it would be kind of like a Lost Souls queer romance situation, but actually this movie was kind of dark. It was dark. I brought literally my entire dinner into this film. I thought this was going to be a comforting experience. It was not. It was not. So like at the time it was like a 3.5 star, but afterwards I was like, listen, it is a 4-star film. It just, I did not mentally prepare myself for it. So it basically is about these 2 men who live in this new apartment complex, and they are like the only 2 people living there. No one else has moved in. It's like a desolate neighborhood. And the 2 of them, there's like a 10 to 15 year age difference, but the 2 of them kind of strike up a little bit of a friendship, and then that turns into a romance. But the main guy, oh yeah, I should tell you who the actors are. I don't know anyone's names. Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal, right? Yeah. Andrew Scott's character is a writer, and homeboy has been through some shit in his life. Like he's been through a lot, and he lost both of his parents when he was very young. I think he was like 12 or 13. He was just discovering his queer identity at the time, and he was not sure of who he was. There were a lot of things that he never got to like really talk through with his parents or like learn from his parents and all these things. And then like one night, both of them died in a car crash, and he never fully digested that. Like he hasn't really processed those emotions, and he starts writing, and basically through this writing, it's very like a, what's it called? It's a very like meta kind of film, because you're not sure if he's actually like going back to these memories through his writing, through his mind, or like he's actually being physically transported back into these times. So you see him kind of going back into these memories that he's having with his parents, and then later he's like visiting his childhood home and actually living through conversations as an adult with his parents, but his parents are still stuck back in that time, but it's very much like they're seeing him as an adult now. And then things just get like kind of out of hand with that situation, and it gets dark. So excellent film, 4 stars, but like, wow, it was a lot to process. So those are some of the recent films I have seen. I'll talk through some of the other ones that I've more recently seen in another video. Let me know if you've seen any of these, if you had entirely different opinions than I did on some of these movies, and what you recently watched, and if you have any recommendations or like films to absolutely stay away from that you absolutely hated. Just let me know and we can have a chat. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye!